Good evening, and welcome to the Southeast Delco School Board of Directors Committee of the Whole meeting scheduled for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Dr. Sanchez, committee reports.
Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, board members. We will start with our education items. Dr. Gibbs Tapper.
Good evening, everyone. So from the Special Education Department, my items are items 2, 3, 4, and items 5. Items 2 as well as item 3 are for ratification for the first one is for Melmark School between Southeast Delco School District for the student listed here on this document for the 25-26 school year, as well as for his completion of the ESY program of the summer of 2025. Also, item 3 is a ratification as well between Southeast Delco School District and Yale School for the 25-26 school year for this student whose information is provided here, and as well for the completion of the ESY program for the summer of 2025. The next item we have is for the Yale School and Southeast Delco School District approving the contract for a student to attend simply the 25-26 school year. And the last item that the Special Education Department is asking and seeking approval for is for the confidential settlement agreement for the student identified here. Any questions? Thank you.
I'm going to go back to number 1 and present that item. To save Dr. Foreman coming up for just one item, we're asking to ratify a professional services agreement with the DJ services for the August 25th event. It's ratified because this is happening on Monday and board vote will happen next Thursday. It's to be able to provide a DJ for the back-to-school event. That will be from 10 to 5 p.m. Any questions with that one? Hearing none, I'd like to invite Dr. Ryan.
Hello. Number 6 and 7. Number 6 is a contract with Stepping Stones. We have about a half a dozen special ed kids who have PCAs who are comfortable with the families. Families are comfortable with PCAs. So we were asking to continue that relationship with this company so that we don't have to disrupt services with a new PCA. As those kids age out of PCA services or service out of services, we will then retract back from Stepping Stones, but we don't want to take anybody away from a kid at this point. So that is number 6. Number 7, approve the memorandum of understanding with SDEA for the use of communities in schools. This is to address truancy. There was a discussion about filing an unfair labor practice last year. That has been resolved with SDEA through this memorandum, and everything is good to go for this school year in all schools except the kindergarten. So we have one person in our grades 1 to 8 schools and 2 communities in schools members in our high school.
What about kindergarten? There's not.
I'm sorry?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten hasn't had it yet. That is their work is generally casework directly with the students. Our stance has traditionally been a kindergarten attendance problem is more of an adult or parent problem than a kid problem. So we didn't want to put that resource there. We felt it'd be better used to put 2 at the high school.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and there are 2 non-agenda items, non-voting items at the end of the education. The medicine management update, as you're aware, Crozier has left. It left us in a bind with counseling and medicine management. Camelot, or SCSI schools, is going to pick up the counseling, so that's taken care of for the Delco Academy kids. Regrettably, both Holcomb and Child Guidance have turned us down for med management, although we have identified 2 other options. One is a local organization of Aviva, who does med management and therapeutic services. The other is a private practice who does some other items for us, like physicals and some access work. Dr. Gibbs-Tapper and I are going to talk one more time. We are most likely going to recommend Aviva because they have the ability to do psych evaluations for kids, whereas the private practice does not. And right now, that would be our leading issue and the reason why we would go with Aviva. The only downside of Aviva is they are an outpatient clinic, so they can't do their services in our schools. our kids would have to go to them, but it is local, so that's not a huge hurdle, but it is something to consider. So we will be coming to you with that in September. And then the federal programs update, Mr. Butler took me off the hook. All of the federal program grants are listed in the finance section, so I will defer to him unless he calls me up later, which he won't because he likes me. Any questions?
Dr. Ryan,
Yeah.
Aviva is the place on McDade in Collingdale?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Trying to think if it's technically Glen Olden, but yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ryan. Dr. Reddick Smack and Dr. Lowry.
Good evening. So, a couple items here. First off, we have 2 items in terms of professional development for our Director of Public Safety. That's numbers 8 and 9 for the attendance of at 2 public safety conferences upcoming. It's numbers 8 and 9. Number 10 is the requested approval. It's a process that we want to start beginning with our curriculum rewriting process to start as we are developing curriculum for our Academy Park High School, to start developing a list of novels and approved reading materials that is being recommended from the teachers and the administration of Academy Park High School. So that would be the first few selections, and then you'll be seeing that throughout the course of the year, more and more novels being added to this approved list as we continue on. It's a good practice to start getting into. Number 11 is the approval of several new instructional materials requests for Academy Park High School based upon the curriculum rewriting project that is beginning at Academy Park, based on teacher recommendations and administrative recommendation that then comes through our Director of Curriculum Instruction then to you guys for approval. We will make a correction. The dollar amount was only listed for one of those titles, so the other titles it was submitted into your supplemental documents, and we'll make sure that that gets added to the other titles down below. Number 12 is the approval for the continuation of the Lexia series. Lexia is a product that we use for selected students in our buildings based upon school-based instructional specialists and principal recommendation for students that require or that would get additional support through the Lexia program. That's a continuation of an existing program that we have. 13 is the recommendation to provide licenses for the Amira suite. You may remember us talking about Amira last summer, and you may remember Principal Ray piloting that program over at the Harris School last year. We're making a recommendation for licenses to be provided to the district, not as an all-in adoption, but on a per license basis for students that would benefit from the Amira program in each of our elementary buildings. So that would be, again, discretionary from the school-based instructional specialists, teacher leaders, and the principal as to how those licenses are utilized for students that need. Grades 1, 2, and 3 will be utilizing the program, and then we'll have discretionary licenses on top of that for other students that may benefit from the Amira program. Number 14 is our continuation, our batch approval of field trips that were prior approved last year, and that approval will continue for the 25-26 school year so that we can start the ball rolling on field trips.
Actually, if anybody has questions, I'll be able to do the 15 through 17. Any questions for Dr. Lowry or Dr. Reddick-Smack?
Yeah, I do. Oh, thank you. For number 13?
Yeah.
Can you explain that a little bit more, please?
Absolutely. So Principal Ray talked about a little bit during her principal report to the Board of School Directors. It was a program that attaches to our HMH suite of Into Reading, Into Literacy, which is our foundational core material. It's not a curriculum, it's a core material. HMH provides access to Amira, which is a generative AI suite that allows students to talk naturally into the program, and it helps the teachers understand fluency and other concerns as students are developing their ability to read and comprehend. So it's computer-based, it's There is some AI aspects that work along with the suite, and it's yet another tool that our teachers are using to help ensure that our kids are as close to grade level as possible by third or fourth grade.
So the students that's from first grade to third grade, that's in all elementary schools? So when you say they are reading, are they reading into a computer or something? Can you explain that to me?
Sure, there was a brief little demo when Principal Ray was presenting, but basically, there would be different prompts and the kids read naturally into the system. And the AI is smart enough that it can determine when there's reading issues and then put kids on different pathways based upon how the kid is reading into the computer. And then it provides data to the teacher that then can also be shared during report card conferences and other times that help really break down where kids are doing well with reading and also where they're struggling. It is not a replacement. It is not meant to have a computer teach a child. It is yet another tool that our teachers have to support with small group instruction and anything during that literacy block that our kids have.
So would the parents get this type of report of how their child is reading?
Teachers have used the actual recordings from their child as they were interfacing with Amira, and they've used that at parent-teacher conferences, different conferences, so the
Oh,
parents
great.
can actually hear how the child is either progressing or if there's a lack of progression so that we can intervene in a different way.
So what about the child? Can they hear themselves through the computer or, for example, if the child is reading and do you give the child the example of how they are reading?
The feedback, so anytime that a child is reading into a system, it would not play back immediately. Like if you just said that sentence that you just said,
Right.
it wouldn't just play back what you just read.
Right.
However, it listens and it's able to determine mistakes or other issues that come out from the reading. And it might actually go back and say, oh, okay, let's take a look at this now. And it's smart enough to know if a child read something fluently with no corrections or if there's issues that need to be addressed and go back into it. Again, it's any kind of tool. You're going to hear a lot about AI coming down the pike
Right.
as education continues to really embrace artificial intelligence. AI is only as good right now as the human interaction that occurs afterwards. So as we are embracing in these programs, it's really the teacher, the school-based instructional specialist, the teacher leaders of the building who then go back, disaggregate what came out, and make instructional recommendations based upon the child's actual work there. Just picture this as another tool where you have one teacher in a classroom, but in a great literacy classroom, you could have a group that's working on Amira while the teacher is performing guided reading instruction and other kids are doing independent activities. It's another tool for the teachers in their tool belt.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is excellent, but you said that it doesn't pick up right away or it doesn't replay right away. So how long?
It's really, it doesn't do it justice by me standing up here and presenting it to you. It's really good.
So, Ms. Woodford, this program is, to say it in layman's terms, is interactive. So as soon as the child reads the paragraph that is projected on the computer, it records their voice and then it plays it back to them. So then it allows the student to hear if they're fluent, if they're pronouncing the words correctly, if they're stumbling over things. And so it's immediate feedback to the child and the teacher. So once that first assessment is done, then it automatically lines the child with the correct lessons to help support them in becoming more fluent,
Right.
more phonetic sounds,
Right.
comprehension. So it is really like a turnover within less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a great program. It's excellent. I was just concerned, does the student hear themselves when they are reading? Because I think that is just as important as the parents hearing them. So,
Ms. Whitford, yes, they do.
okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
What I'm looking at is, you said the word, new building. In your perception, do you have a time frame? Because that's very important to me, a time frame. And if not in that time frame, can you somehow, I believe you, the last time we talked, you said fourth grade was going to be the science part where it kicks in for for the state test. Can we have our teachers develop their own program, like you two guys take it down to the fourth grade? And then have our teachers develop their own program going backwards from there, from third, second, first, so that they're actually doing science, even if it's a toilet paper roller with dirt and a seed in it to grow.
So just to move into that direction, the new science assessment that was provided across the state is 5th grade and 8th grade. And the district is currently developing curricula that we have developed that our teachers will be using in our middle school classrooms, and we are working backwards. To touch upon that point, yes, teachers are involved in the curriculum rewriting process for science, and they will continue to be involved in there. Part of that is inquiry, and inquiry-based science is part of our rewriting project, yes.
No problem.
Thank you.
I have two quick questions.
Yeah, of course.
So for 13, for Amira, does the Spanish option, is that included with the license, or is that additional cost if we want to use it for our ELL students?
Let me double check on that. I don't want to quote it without.
And then also 14, and please forgive me because I did not get enough information when we talked about it before. Dr. Sanchez had mentioned some partnerships. I forget what event you guys were at and you met. I know one was like the African American History Museum. Did we add those partners to the field trip list?
As of now, we have not gotten those partnership agreements
Okay.
in, but that can be very easily added in if we
Okay.
want to discuss either a bold for August, or we can easily do it for September.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions?
Dr. Sanchez, I do believe that it does have a Spanish ELA portion of it. It's just,
Yeah, I know that that is in existence. I want to just confirm that it's part of our agreement before I openly state that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we move on to the next items, I just wanted to ask if it would be possible for 16 and 17 for us to maybe not say out loud what the titles are, just to keep that for the theater kids to be surprised.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So number 15 is going to be stricken, it'll be a change to the agenda next month. The AASA is the American Association for School Administrators, now known as the School Superintendents Association, has reached out to me with an opportunity for me to attend a training for free in Boston, Massachusetts. There's a very similar training that's going to happen in November that's much closer, so we're going to table this. It'll be removed as a change to the agenda next week. And I just found that out on Tuesday. Number 16 is to approve the theater production, and number 17 is to approve the spring musical production. Any questions? Hearing, seeing none, we're going to move along to finance. Mr. Butler?
Good evening, everyone. Item 1 is a ratification. Item 1 and 2 are ratifications. This is the proposal and agreement for the Delaware County Intermediate Unit to provide fixed-rate computer initialization services at a cost not to exceed $16,687. That will be funded through general fund. Item 2 is a purchase of technology, Chromebooks, Chromebook units for students, and Dell laptops for staff at a total cost not to exceed $997,042. Again, this will be funded through general fund. This is via the CoStarz purchasing agreements. Dr. Ryan had mentioned earlier on his agenda about the grants. This just is the approval of the grant amounts and the acceptance of the grant amount. So we have Title I, which is for reading interventionists and to support district schools, as you can read. It's at a budget amount or grant amount of $1,961,111. Title II, in short terms, is class size reduction. That is $224,592. Title IV is providing counseling and social work services. The amount $145,297. Title III is for English language development and instruction. That grant amount is $26,491. The next two items are related to debt service payments that we make from renovations of Academy Park High School a number of years ago. Part of that agreement is that the state will reimburse us. In this case, the first is $1,097,074, and for the second borrowing, $436,137. Item 4, this is a performance agreement for scripts associated with the theatrics in the amount of $4,189. Item 5, this is a membership for the Pennsylvania School Board Association. The dues are not to exceed $16,245.10. Item 6 is another agreement for, or another membership. This is for Coalition for Educational Equity. They were formerly known, you may recall, as Delaware Valley Consortium of Excellence and Equity. This is the membership for the 25-26 school year in the amount of $12,500. Item 7, this is an agreement with an organization called Bike Curve. They are connected with our transportation systems. This particular system will provide GPS tracking for all of our vehicles, and it will monitor staff schedules and work hours. And this will interact with our current systems that are in place. And that's at a cost of $18,660. Item 8 is to amend the agreement that we had passed in a previous school board meeting, and that amount at the time was estimated to be $10,000. This is incorporating the cleaning and the repairs for all of the laptops or the Chromebooks, and the cost is not to exceed $100,000 for, this is for a 3-year period of time. Number 9, this is in proposal for Lightspire Technologies. This is upgrading our Exchange 2016 server at a cost not to exceed $8,000. Item 10, this is a proposal from Connection Public Sector Solutions to extend the Securely Classroom and the Securely Filter systems for a 1-year period of time at a cost of $32,208. Item 11, approve the proposal from E-Plus Technologies. This is the extension of the Palo Alto filtering system, and that is at a cost not to exceed $79,405.24. Item 12 is a proposal from Connection Public Sector Solutions. This is to purchase USB-C chargers at a cost not to exceed $21,490. That concludes my agenda items. Are there any questions?
So connected to the presentation of some of the agenda items in this section, we have at the mic Dr. Lowry, Mr. Jennings, and Mr. Miller, who will be providing a presentation to be able to explain in greater detail some of the requests that we're making this month.
So, hello again. I'm thrilled to be here with two great directors and specialists for our technology department. We have Mr. Suni Jennings, our Director of Technology, and Mr. Matt Miller, who's our Supervisor of Technology. And I'm going to briefly kick off and then turn it over to the experts when it comes to technology about just some quick things we want to discuss relevant to modernizing our technology infrastructure within the district. So as we continue and as we move through various curriculum rewrites and as our world grows with technology, our district has to grow as well. So we have been a one-to-one district for quite some time during the COVID era, which was, believe it or not, 5 years ago at this point. And that's really important when SUNY and Matt start talking about some of the age of our infrastructure moving forward. We want to take a look at our Chromebook one-to-one program, our staff laptop program, talk about a quick need to update our policy to show accountability for students for some of the valuable technology that we are providing our students so that they can access course materials and do classwork at home. The need for device replenishment, how do we go about replenishing our devices? And when the absolute need comes for subsequent repairs to our technology, how do we handle that? And what's our process? So just real quick, this is just a very quick snapshot of some of the instructional technology needs that our teachers use in classrooms that our technology department in person and behind the scenes has to support in order for the classroom environment aspect to work. So web-based instructional systems, HMH and Savas, these are the books that our kids get, but there's a significant resources that are housed online virtually that complement the Intro to Reading program, Envision Math, our science program, and our social studies program. Our intervention systems, such as Edmentum, such as Renaissance Star, our assessment system, such as Amira that we just talked about today, as we talked about some of our other intervention systems, they all loop through there. Google Classroom. Google Classroom took off across the country during the pandemic, and Google Apps for Education, where the majority of our work happens in classroom environments on Google Docs, Google Drive, Sheets, all those different Google Apps for Education that really drive the instructional program in our schools. The Power School, which is our student information system, our SIS, that's where all of our data is held across the school district. Panorama, our new program and platform for monitoring students and creating MTSS, multi-tiered system of support plans for our kids. And of course, the biggest one, our Smartboard integration. We came to the board back in 2022 and said we need the ability to have smart technology in our classrooms, and it has worked out unbelievable. It has changed and modernized instruction in every one of our K through 8 classrooms. The high school already had projection systems, but our K to 8 classrooms took off with that integration back in 2022. But these things here in front of us, this is what drives those smartboards. They are nothing more than a screen without the technology behind the scenes. Our proposed policy reading, and Dr. Ryan obviously being the policy expert for us, but this is a tweak to existing policy where we have a technology policy, but we also want to start putting in accountability for our students if devices are abused, damaged, or otherwise lost. So this language adds for those provisions so that we can recuperate some of those costs if a device falls under one of these categories. And that would be the only part of the policy that we are looking to amend for this current session. With that, a lot of things that I can't even begin to talk about, circulation of devices and just the sheer amount of devices that a district like us, we are a district of about 4,000, give or take. 4,000 devices is an unbelievable amount when you really think about what that actually looks like. So, Senior Matt, I want to turn it over to you so you can talk a little bit about our footprint and what we have.
Good evening. Glad to be here, proud Southeast Delco alumni. I started first grade 50 years ago. Wow. So I'm back, happy to be home and help out. Yes, the devices that we have in the district, that's where the rubber meets the road. The board has approved a lot of advances in technology, and the key thing is that we want to make sure that our students have the best devices in their hands, and our teacher has to have the best devices in their hands in order to be able to deliver the curriculum and instruction they need to be successful. One of the key things that the state has mandated moving forward is there's no longer pen and pencil testing. Yeah, no longer. So we have to have devices for students to be able to take these exams and tests, but we don't want to have, devices that aren't crisp and new and functioning properly. One of the things we found out when we did testing for science this year, that we had to circle around with a lot of students to make sure they had a really good device, keys weren't missing, the screen wasn't cracked. We don't want those things to get in the way of our students achieving. And that's one of the big things that we're going to be able to do with this influx of Chromebooks. We're going to be able to have Chromebooks where we can circulate, get them repaired, get them to students, and make sure they have the best equipment they have to be as productive as as they can. That's one of the key issues that we're doing. We're also starting a pilot program at the kindergarten center. For years, our kindergartners use iPads, and then they get to the first grade, they use a Chromebook. So there's a disconnect there. So we're starting a touch Chromebook pilot at the kindergarten this year. So it will have students at the kindergarten level, at their introduction level, they'll be using Chromebooks. So when they get to the first grade, they'll be using a Chromebook, and that won't be a gap in learning and instruction. I mean, I think that's one of the big things and keys that we have. And as far as teachers, their computers, most of them are Windows 10. If you read that Windows 10 is going away in October, so we're on a fast pace to upgrade and give them new devices that are Windows 11 that will be compliant. We don't want teachers to have issues with instruction because their Windows systems are outdated. So we want to move forward with that, and that's one of the key factors of getting the new laptops and getting them ready for teachers. And Matt, who's been excellent, he's been here about 2 years, the same time as I came in. He started off at Harris as a desktop support person, but as my grandmother said, it don't take all day to see sunshine. So we saw Matt, and Matt was really excellent, and Matt moved up and he took over the supervisory role, and I'll let Matt talk a little bit and he can introduce himself.
Good evening, everyone. If you don't know me yet, my name is Matt Miller. I'm the Technology Specialist Supervisor here at Southeast Delco. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about the repair of our devices. So the truth is that some of these devices do encounter damage that require them to either be repaired or fully replaced. When we can, the techs in our buildings do repairs in shop. So if we have spare parts such as keyboards or screens or something along those lines, we are able to repair those in-house when we are able to. There are many things that do not allow us to repair things in-house, such as motherboard damage, complete and utter destruction of the Chromebook. So these are the typical repairs that we see and we send out. So there's screen replacements, power supply failures, various spills of liquids and other things on Chromebooks, drops to what you call chassis damage and keyboard damage. Also, just a reminder that these devices are transported home daily for each student to allow them to do work at home, homework at home, and just access various resources if they're working on projects and such. We made that change last year to allow all students to take their Chromebooks home rather than just the 6th, 8th, and then the Academy Park high school students as well. So then, just to talk a little bit more about our partnership with the DCIU. So the DCIU offers a flat rate for repair services for non-warranty units. That does include a parts fee if they do not have a warranty. And then they also provide a flat rate provisioning services for us to help us ease into the deployment of those Chromebooks. That is a huge, huge help for us because while SUNY and I are also running around and doing projects during the summer, we need support for those projects from our techs as well in the buildings. And also with summer school programs and other extended school year programs, our techs also have to be available to provide support for those programs within the buildings themselves. Yes.
Could you say that one more time for me, please?
Yes.
That you will go to a person's home and fix their machines?
No, sorry.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to clarify, because that's what I heard.
Yes, so the students take the devices home, but all repairs or any support that we provide is within
No
the
problem.
district. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that this is excellent. This is very, very good. but I do have a question for you. I did have several, but you answered all my questions except for one. Are they taking tests on the, on the computers? Just like, they may do, classwork and homework, they able to take it home? Are they doing tests also?
So within the classroom, yes, they're doing tests. That would be a better question for teachers, whether I don't believe that they would be, but
So-
yes, state testing.
So there's a couple aspects. There's classroom-based assessments that our kids would take either in school or they can do them at home.
At
Homework
home.
assignments. The bigger thing, and obviously none of these devices are being acquired for the specific purpose of state testing, but a big thing across the Commonwealth is that the requirement under Governor Shapiro that we have online PSSA and Keystone testing that is coming. So in order to ensure that we are state testing compliant, this is also a major benefit for ensuring that we have state-of-the-art technology for our kids. So that's a small aspect. That's 5 days a year of testing that would occur for 180 days of school.
Right.
But it's something that we do have to be diligent and plan for down the line. But these devices, over time, when somebody else is standing up here in a couple of years talking about the need for additional technology, each year these devices become more and more critical to the development of instructional programs each and every year. So I don't want to be a betting man, but looking out into the future, as these devices become more and more commonplace, AI starts taking off, the reliance on textbooks is going to decrease over time. So I'm proud of the team for forward thinking and making sure that we are state-of-the-art and ready to go for the future. But yeah, testing it's a part of it, but it doesn't drive everything that we're doing.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. The FID days, the flexible instructional days, that is allowed by the state for inclement weather and whatnot. When I believe it's 5 days that we are permitted for under the FID program. These are critical for FID. We would not be able to do an FID day without that equipment. So, good point.
Ms. Harris Johnson?
Good evening, gentlemen. Under your normal wear and tear on these Chromes, what is the expectation before they have to be replaced by the student?
So our expectation for the lifetime of these devices is 3 years. That is the warranty that we acquire. That is the length of the warranty that we acquire with all these devices as well. So once the warranty runs out, we typically let the device go until it is completely destroyed or destroyed in some way, and then we look to replace it.
Yeah, what we also do, we also save the devices and we kind of Frankenstein them. We'll take the screens off of devices, maybe their keyboard or motherboard's gone, but their screens are good. And if another Chromebook that's out of warranty gets its screen cracked, we'll take that good screen and put on that Chromebook and put that back in circulation. So make sure that we can get Chromebooks to students very quickly.
Ms. Perry, I'm sorry, did you have something else to say?
No, I was just kind of making a side comment.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
But,
I have a question.
go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I had a question about with the devices that are put back together and restructured, are we going to charge parents the same fee if a child breaks a computer that is brand new versus one that has been hobbled together from different pieces and it's past the 3 years? Are we still saying that that's going to be the same fee for the parents to put those things together? Because I would be very upset if I was charged the same fee for a brand new computer.
We use those computers as loaner devices to get a device back to a student.
Can you speak close to the mic?
Oh, we use those devices as loaner devices. Moving forward, our plan is to have loaner devices that we give to students while the one device that we issued them. One of the things that we've been working on in the background this year, moving forward, is to pair a student with a specific device. In the past, students could log on to any device. We've been working with a program that we want to try to pilot where when we assign you a Chromebook, that is your Chromebook. You can't log into somebody else's Chromebook. The only Chromebook you can log into is the Chromebook we assign to you. So that way you are responsible for that Chromebook. And that's the direction we want to move, because that will give us the ability to say, hey, you're responsible for this Chromebook because you couldn't grab somebody else's if yours broke or vice versa. So moving forward, that's the direction we want to go, and moving and keeping kids with, as they say, crisp technology.
So when they start school in September, every student is going to have a Chromebook that is within 3 years of its warranty date. So in order to make sure that we're all of them are starting off on the same even footing, or is it going to be that some are older?
Some will be older, but they will still be within their warranty date. The new devices will be going to Academy Park, and then all of the other devices that are still within warranty will be pushed to the rest of the elementary schools.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I just want to say good job.
Thank you.
You did a wonderful work. And I'd like to thank you for your hard work. Yes.
Thank you again. I'd like to call up now Mrs. Woolley. She'll be presenting the human resources, and as you can expect, right before we start school, this is a pretty long agenda.
Good evening, board. Good evening, audience. My name is Stephanie Woolley, Director of Human Resources. I'm here to present the human resources items. Number one, we have a retirement. Roseanne Smith in the print room here at the district. She has retired, and she's been with the district for 33 years. So we want to congratulate her on her long-deserved retirement. All right. So number 2, on pages 6 through 7, we have 7 resignations of our professional staff, including one that was a no-show. And we will be adding in bold for the next week 2 additional professionals, school psychologists, and our gifted teacher resigned. On page 7, number 4 and 5, we had 3 resignations of our classified staff. The bottom of page 7, number 6, page 7 through 8, we hired 5 professional teachers, and we will be bolding at least 5 other professionals that we just hired and went through orientation with us yesterday. We hired 12 classified employees on pages 8, 9, and 10. And on page 10, number 9, we have through page 10 through 11, 4 change of assignments, 2 professional and 1 confidential and 1 classified. Number 12 on page 11, number 12, 13, and 14, approved the salary corrections based on the job analysis that was completed for 3 employees. The bottom of page number 11, number 15, looking to request a year leave of absence for child rearing. At the top of page 12, we're asking the approval of a 2-year agreement with the Substitute Teacher Services to provide substitute teachers to the district. Those are teachers with the agency that support our students when our teachers are absent for the day. Pages 12 and 13, items number 17, 18, 19, and 20, we're asking the approval of the supplemental contracts listed on those pages. Some of our non-agenda items, we're excited that we launched the employee self-service portal, which is called Criterion. Our employees are going through training now, and we are looking to launch and be live with the data and all employees using the system on September the 2nd, when the students begin. And final, we're excited that we partner with Drexel University, Westchester University, Widener University, and Eastern University. We have student teachers coming throughout the district starting on September the 8th. All right, any questions? Yes.
It's just out of curiosity for number 17, employees for the CCLC after-school program.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand it. Can you explain it?
That is, okay.
Sure. That's 21st Century After School Program. So we have a grant through the federal government to be able to offer a certain number of first through fifth grade students. And these are the lead teachers that we're looking to hire to be able to help us run those after-school programs.
From the first to fifth grade,
First to fifth grade.
what is it for, math or whatever they are lacking in, or what are you saying?
It's a very comprehensive after-school program that includes a snack, recreation, homework help, and academic support.
Okay, I got you now. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, could I ask some questions about the supplementals?
Yes.
And this is actually to follow up on the concerns that the high school cheer coach posed. I don't know if you guys remember what I'm talking about. The cheer coach got up and she was concerned about the middle school coach only is a middle school coach for one sport. And looking at this, you know, if the high school fall and winter each get 32 units, and the middle school cheerleading coach is only getting 20 units, that would lead me to believe that Ms. Manson was correct. So are we doing anything to try to get a second middle school coach? I don't want football cheer to dwindle over the years, and does it have to be an MOU with the union? And what do we need to do to make that happen so that we have cheerleaders for football and basketball that are feeding into our high school programs?
So unfortunately, that position is not listed in the back of their SDEA contract. So that would have to be definitely something negotiated with the teachers' contract union.
So the position that is listed for middle school cheerleading coach, does it say what sport it's for?
It does not.
Does it say it's for one sport?
Dr. Ryan, do you mind joining Ms. Woolley at the
Thank you.
mic? Since you were integral in helping to resolve this.
Thank you. Can't answer that one.
So no, without having it memorized, it does not say that it's sport-specific. There was some confusion over whether there was, quote-unquote, an assistant, which there is not. There is the lead head cheerleading coach at the high school level, and there is the middle school only, but I don't think middle school has an assistant cheerleading coach.
Right, but that's not my question.
Okay.
So Miss Manson gets 32 units for being the football cheer coach.
Not football, no.
Wh-
It shouldn't be. They're not sports-specific. I know they
Okay,
cheer at
fall.
football game, fall, yes.
Okay, for
Yes.
fall. All right, and then she gets another 32 units for winter, which is probably basketball, right?
And some competition, but generally, yes.
Okay, so Ms. Bright only gets 20 units, but we don't know if it's fall or winter. Can we possibly engage with the union? I want to make sure that sports are just as important as the arts and the academics. I don't want middle school to be treated as important as high school. And I feel like Mrs. Manson's concerns were valid. If her numbers are going down every year in cheer, and we're not doing football cheer at the middle school level, it's only going to get worse over time. So is that something like maybe the board would be interested in engaging with the union to make sure we can get an additional cheer coach?
So-
Dr. Ryan,
Yeah.
you have some more background that you
Yeah,
can share, please?
so part of so can we talk to the union? We can talk to the union about anything that the board directs us to, but it does need to be negotiated. Part of the reasoning for the lesser units at the middle school level is that those sports don't start until around mid-September. So where the high school has started already, the middle school is generally not starting until after school starts. But can we engage in a conversation with SDA to build programs? We can, but it has to be through either negotiation or MOU.
Well, and I understand it starts later, so that would make sense, the difference between the 32 and the 20. But if you're expecting the middle school coach to do two sports, getting 20 units when the high school coach is getting 64, that's a big difference.
Yeah, the high school is usually more across all the sports. But again, I don't want to tie that cheerleading is to a sport. It's more towards a season.
Okay.
And I think in the contract, it actually says fall and winter, not football, basketball, or anything like that.
Okay.
But can we engage? Absolutely, if that's the directive of the board.
Is that something the rest of the board would be interested in?
I have a question before that one. So, for this middle school coach, is she coaching for fall and winter, or is she choosing which season she's gonna coach?
I believe it's fall and winter. For
Okay.
both high school and middle school.
Okay,
At the
so,
meeting where she talked, she specifically said, or Ms. Manson said that she chose to do basketball season only, so winter only. She did not choose to do summer
okay.
or fall.
We did have
So,
that
did y'all have that
conversation.
conversation with her?
That's our choice, not their choice.
Okay, so she's she understands that she will be the coach for fall and
We
winter.
will confirm again if need be, but we did have that conversation with Ms. Manson after
Okay.
whatever board meeting that was.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Ms.
Oh, I'm
Ms.
sorry,
Perry, I'm sorry.
What was your question, Ms. Perry? If the board was interested in having us engage in that conversation?
Yeah, because I just feel like 20 units for 2 full seasons isn't a lot. And if you look at all the other sports, like, so for example, the head coach for middle school volleyball is already getting more units than the middle school cheer coach. And they have an assistant, and that's only 1 season. So it just seems like whenever this negotiation did happen, something was missed. Those numbers, she's getting the least amount of units out of every single coach, but we want her to coach 2 seasons? I just feel like it would be fair for the board to consider adding another 20 units so that we have a cheer coach for both seasons and make sure that if our cheerleaders want to do sideline cheer in the fall, they can. If they want to do winter cheer on the bleachers, they can. And especially like the Sharon Hill Ramblers football program is really, really strong, and so is Darby Township Eagles. You want to pool those cheerleaders. You want to make sure they're cheering. But the local clubs, they don't have cheer for basketball. So the cheerleaders you may be getting for basketball may be our less experienced cheerleaders, and we're not pooling our experienced cheerleaders from our local communities. And I think this would be a great way to use those local clubs as a feeder program into our middle school cheer. Because I've noticed if you work with any of the local athletic clubs, the strongest sports in the middle school and high school are the ones where we have the strongest programs in the community. So for example, Collingdale has a very, very strong soccer program, and every year our soccer team gets bigger and better. So I think that to be fair to the coach and to be fair to our kids, I would really like it if the board would consider, even if it's not the same coach, but offering another 20 units and splitting the 2 cheer seasons.
So requesting the union to create a new, additional middle school.
Either additional or increase the units, but I can't make that request alone. I would need the board's support.
You want the board to have further discussion?
I would like the board to give permission to the administration to engage in the conversation with the SDEA.
Okay. That's a who?
I'll go into that.
Is it? I don't,
That is, yes, it is. They're the supplemental contracts at the back of their union contract.
okay. So, where we go from here?
So I'm just going to say this, that we had a lengthy discussion at our last business board meeting about opening contracts because of funding. So it would be up to the board what they want to do with SEDA.
Mr. Solicitor, is this something that would just be an MOU?
I'm not entirely sure. I would suggest that you just table it, the understanding that you'll have further discussion on this. Probably need to speak to Mr. DiOrio to see whether that would be required or not. I'm not sure off the top of my head.
So, where do we go from here? Because she's requesting for us to have further discussion about the matter.
I'm asking if the majority of the board that is present right now would be okay with the administration moving forward with the conversation. I don't know if we can have further discussion here unless it's something SDEA would even be interested in.
Excuse me, I think since the solicitor said that we should table this and have more discussion on it, I think that's what we need to do. And making the decision immediately, I'm not for it. I want to be able to discuss it.
So we just opened their contract previously and got hit with a hefty bill. If we open the contract again, we're not just limited to just the supplemental stuff. So I would definitely be opposed to it.
Would you be able to give us an estimate on what 20 units costs?
Yes, it's $96 per unit.
So we're
And-
not talking about a giant cost. We're
So what
talking
I'm
about
saying-
$2,000 for a season, less than $2,000 for a season.
That's for one individual, but if I was on here and say I was the athletic director, I want my units to be higher.
The athletic director doesn't have units. She's a salary. She's an administrator. We don't have an,
The athletic trainer.
oh, the athletic trainer works every single season. He works all year round.
And so I would bump mine up. So you keep, I want people to be very clear when we say open it up for one individual, that if I was on the same scaling, I would open up every single one of them, so it wouldn't just be $2,000.
All right, well, to be fair, I understand that the majority of the board's not going to agree with me. But I just want to make it very clear that I think it's unfair that every other middle school sport has a head coach and an assistant coach, and it's one season. So that's a total of 54 units per sport, but yet our cheerleaders, no, they're not that important. Let's make sure they have a coach that's barely getting paid. So just on the record, I want to make sure that was on the record.
Okay, but I just want to make a correction here. Do not speak that the majority of the board is not going to agree with you. So I was the one that was asking the board, can we have further discussion? So I think it's wrong for you to speak for all of the board, which I was asking the board, let's have a further discussion about it. So, so it's not the majority of the board. Thank you.
I would also like to add that I am in favor of giving the additional position. I don't think that we're opening it up to give people additional units. This could literally just be a matter of, as you have a fall and winter, having a fall and winter for middle school cheer, same as you do. So it's not necessarily adding more to someone's, it's just adding the additional position. So I don't think we're talking about giving one person more than anything else. Now, it depends on who applies for the position. It could be two different people. One is the coach for fall, one is a coach for winter. So I don't think that it is a strict matter of increasing someone's cut. And I have been a cheerleading coach for many, many years. That is a very demanding job and responsibility, especially because unlike other sports where your season ends and you're done, your season doesn't end, especially if you're competition. You're doing multiple things at once. So I was kind of surprised to see how low that it was, but I understand that that's just a part of how the negotiations went. But I do feel that it is unfair to expect one person to do that all by themselves instead of having assistance like every other sport has, because it is a rather difficult position. And on top of that, middle school would have to encompass coordinating with each of the schools. So it's 4 different schools that they're coordinating with. It's not just one, like where it's at the high school. So there is a lot of complexity to that I think we need to be sensitive to to make sure that we're not only making the coach who is currently doing it or going to be doing it feel empowered, but also that they don't feel diminished in us kind of going like, it's not that big a deal. Just kind of deal with it. I want to make sure that we're being very, very respectful with how we're looking at it.
Well, my thing is, if the board wants to have further discussion about it, we can. But, everybody this should, I think we should have a discussion about it. But we've got to stop saying that the majority of the board, and, you can't speak for everybody. So, if you want to have a discussion, further discussion about it, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, whether you have people that's against it or for it. So, we could take it from there.
Okay, so I just want to add that with the sports and all our non-athletic sports, we do get a lot of background clearances because we have a lot of volunteers to help support the coaches and non-athletic activities that are going on as well. So that, I wanted to put that out there. So, any more questions? If not, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Villanova University students and parents. It was? Thank you. Yeah, I've been in here, so I didn't realize, so thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Woolley. So now we're going to move on to property. Mr. Taylor?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm bringing forth two items for the property committee. First one is to approve an agreement with DWD Mechanical Contractors to furnish and install 2 new high-efficiency boilers at Darby Township School, which we will be using a CoStarz contract with in the amount of $374,000 to be paid from general fund. Also, approve the agreement with DWD Contractors to furnish and install 2 new high-efficiency boilers at our kindergarten center, also using our CoStarz contract, in the amount of $280,000, also to be paid from our general fund. And that's all we have for property.
Any questions? Dr. Ryan in policy?
I know you get the policies emailed to you, but I do have hard copies if anybody needs them. Policy number 1 is the technology policy that was referred to earlier today by Dr. Lowry and Mr. Miller and Mr. Jennings. It allows us to charge for lost or damaged machines, which we did not have before. Number 2, policy 005 is it's a board policy, but it's about the board itself. There was a court case out of Jim Thorpe School District up in the Poconos. The ruling was that board members have what's called a property right to their board seat. I'll defer to the lawyer if I get this wrong, but essentially you can't just be removed from being a board member. You need notice and you need due process, so that language is being added into policy 005. Policy 308.
Question.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yep.
So this ruling is going to supersede the school code.
I think it's I think it's board officer. You can't just remove a president or a vice president. Like, the board can elect to remove a president or a vice president without a hearing or due process. We still can't remove board members.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry, it is officer, it's officer, sorry.
I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yep, sorry about that. Policy 308, there is defined language about what constitutes a resignation. There is a choice that the board has to make on the policy itself. Right now, the language is that the superintendent may tender his resignation. Please don't, sir. Directly to the board president, there is a choice by the board if you include the assistant superintendents in that language. Again, please don't, sir. Number 4, policy 317 should have been updated with 317.1. It ties back to the Title IX harassment language, and it updates that language in this policy. And number 5 is the first reading of 320, freedom of speech by employees. The policy we currently have is 18 years old. The new language in the policy just says that while employees do maintain a level of freedom of speech, they can't go around saying things that end up having a disruption back in the building and the organization. So that those 5 are all recommended for first readings. And then non-agenda items, just like we do every year, there is a review of the bullying policy, which was just updated in, I think, February of 2025, and a review of the Title I parent and family engagement policy. Both policies are over on the cabinet by Ms. Threadgill. I have copies as well. As usual, if the board has any recommendations for those policies, let me know and we will insert that language. But it is not up for a vote, it is just up for review at this point.
Can I
Any
ask a question about
questions
number
on
3?
policy?
So for number 3, are you asking us to make a decision on whether or not to include the assistant superintendent in that?
So in the policy that you should have seen itself, it has a little check mark of whether you want to include the assistant superintendent or not. If voted on as is, to me, because that's not checked, that language has to come out. If you choose to include it, then I would just take the checkbox part out of it, and the language would then read superintendent and or assistant superintendent may tender the resignation to the board president. Please don't
So
serve
we need
3
to
times.
let you know, so you know what to put in there next week.
Yes, yes, so I need a decision on whether you want the assistant superintendent language in there as well. Okay, that's fine. I'll put it in, you can vote it up or down, it's up to you. Any other policy questions? Okay, thank you. And again, I have hard copies of it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ryan. I'd like to invite now Mr. Rusnov to the mic to give you an update on safety.
Good evening. Just going to go over a couple projects that we were working on this summer. So the Sharon Hill strike plate replacements has been completed. The Case Center intercom addition and card reader cover replacement is completed. Delcroft access control additions are complete. The NVR and camera upgrades are all complete throughout the district at each school. We just recently had the racks for the NVRs delivered to AES, and they will begin installation of those racks on Monday, August 25th. Training, first aid, AED, CPR, and stop the bleed training was conducted on the 18th for new security officers that have recently been hired. Handle with Care training was district-wide, and that was conducted on the 19th and the 20th. Crisis Go training, district-wide for new hires, was conducted on the 20th. And staffing, we currently have 3 openings for security. 2 of those, they declined the position, and 1 resigned for personal reasons. Any questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you again, Mr. Rusnov. Madam President, that concludes the agenda.
Madam President, I would like to request to put the contract back on the table for voting under old business for next week. I wasn't here, I think it was last month. So I would like to put the contracts back on the table for next week voting.
So, Ms. Woodfolk, if you want to vote next week, what are the parameters? Because, for example, one of the contracts cannot legally be extended.
I know so what, we could discuss it next week? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is, you say the position, not the individual's name.
Oh, okay. Yes. So I already know about that. So, I mean, that's something that we already know, that we don't have to deal with that individual. So what about the rest?
Well, anything that is done less than 180 days before the board changes will just be, it can be legally challenged in court and overturned, and I just think in the long run, that'll cause more of a cost for the district.
Okay, well, whoever want to challenge it, let's challenge it. I'm going forward.
Do you have
Even if that
reasons
means it's a
for which
board
one you
member
would
that's
like to-
challenging it?
I'm sorry.
Do you have reasons to list for which
I'm
which
not going to
contracts you
state
want
my
to extend?
reasons, but I just want to put it back on the table and we can all vote on it.
Okay, well, it wasn't on the table before the vote, it was just a discussion.
Yeah, well, it was a discussion. Now, I want it on the table for voting for next Thursday.
Right, so I'm
Shouldn't
asking
it be
what
on the
other
table for
parameters
discussion?
would you like to particularly vote on?
We can discuss that next week.
If it's not on the agenda, we won't be able to vote
Well,
next week
I
because it will
think
be de minimis.
Well, it was already talked about that we was going to give them, extend their contracts.
It actually wasn't, because the person who originally asked for it, she decided that she didn't want to speak on it. So it wasn't discussed that we would do it. It was actually striked from the agenda.
Okay.
So, Ms. Woodford, let me just give you some context of what happened last month. So it was discussed for over a half an hour. Members of the board expressed their opinion in the discussion.
Okay.
After that, it was a motion to table it from the agenda. Which
Okay.
it was tabled. Now, tonight, you're requesting that the contract be back on the table under new business for voting.
Old
Is that correct?
business.
Under old business.
That's correct.
It wasn't tabled, though. That's not what happened. It was not tabled.
Well, I'm sorry, removed from the agenda.
So I'm asking it for it to be back on the agenda for next week voting.
It wasn't on the table for voting, it was on the table for discussion.
No, she's asking for
I'm
it to be placed.
requesting for it to be, on the agenda for next week voting.
Okay, well, I disagree, and I hope there's some other board members here as well that would disagree.
Okay, well, you have
There
the
is.
right to agree to or disagree. That's why we are voting next week.
I would have a question for the solicitor.
Yes.
Should this actually pass, would I be legally allowed to challenge it in court?
I'm not sure the answer to that.
Because as a board member, I am warning you right now, if you move forward with that, I would be the one to go ahead and legally challenge that.
Okay, so just like you asked me a question of why I want to put it back on the board, on the agenda, so can you ask me why not?
Oh, I can absolutely, because the contracts are up at their scheduled time.
Right.
The contracts are not even halfway done, so to extend them prior to that point, without the actual people themselves requesting this, or for the superintendent to have requested this, makes very little sense legally. And on top of that, this is basically managing or making decisions that affect the incoming board. This is a decision that should be made by the incoming board, not by the board that is currently sitting. That is why their contracted dates end when they do.
Okay.
And if this was a matter of they're working on projects that require that type of a commitment, then 100%. And also, we have no idea what the job performance will be like towards the end of their contract. Therefore, why would we enter into such a long-term contract without proper documentation of a need? So I believe that this would unfairly tie the hands of the incoming board. They should be the ones to make the decisions on which contracts are getting extended beyond what they already have. We've done our job. We've put the people in place, let them do their jobs, let them prove themselves, not that I'm saying that they won't, but I'm saying let them prove themselves and their merit and do things by the book. We don't need to, the board should not be in the habit of extending contracts arbitrarily. There is no justification for this, and that would be the reason why I would be pursuing that in any legal way that I could.
Okay, so Ms. McGowan, let me explain something to you. Legally, we can do it because we are the board of today. We're not talking about the board of tomorrow. So whatever we decide that we want to do, we could put this back on the table, yes. And each one of us can vote yay or nay. So, if you guys want to challenge it next year, you have your right to do that. But for now, this is the way I feel, and maybe possibly other board members feel about it. And furthermore, no, they didn't ask anything, okay? It was a board member that suggested it. So if they do not want their contracts open, okay, legally, we can't do it. If they say no, okay, we cannot force them to, or allow us to force their contract legally, okay? So when you go to court, make sure you dot all your I's and cross your T's, because I guarantee you, you're going to lose. That's all I have to say.
So could I, Madam President,
So
could
I have a question. I'm sorry, Ms. McGowan was about to speak, and then Ms. Perry.
I was going to simply say, if you do it within 180 days of their contract ending, that's not legal. The contract isn't up for that. So if you move forward with that and you guys vote to go ahead and do that, you can, but it will be challenged because that's not when it's supposed to be reopened. Now,
Go ahead.
but what I'm saying is, I don't, if this would be different if they were coming to us and asking for that to be opened. For us to do this arbitrarily, then that's going to say, well, then why can't we just arbitrarily open up anyone's contract to just start opening up and extending them just because we can? Why would you want to do that? That's not the purpose of the board. It seems to be stepping outside of what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be, that's something that's supposed to be handled by the administration working with Dr. Sanchez and him making the recommendations to us to open it. I don't understand why we are proactively doing this on their behalf. It feels like it's adding a bit of tension to a board that we currently have a situation where our Academy Park dropped from an ATSI school to a CSI school. We're not talking about that. Why we're not talking about that, I have absolutely no idea. Instead, we are talking about reopening contracts that absolutely don't need to be reopened. Their contracts are set for right now. And if we reopen them, that reopens up contract negotiations for pay. And when you're talking about doing that with pay, you are talking about future budgets.
Right.
That is talking about what the next board's budget is going to look like, because you reopen those contracts to add additional money to those contracts. And that was one of the big sticking points that Cherie had during the bringing the teachers back to their correct steps. So I'm not quite sure why that would be something that you would want to go back and revisit after that was so contentious the last time. But either way, why focus on this instead of focusing on something that is much, much more critical? Is
Okay.
where I'm having an issue.
Okay, well, first of all, when you mentioned Dr. Sanchez, that we should come to him, first of all, the board, we are his boss, okay? He don't come to us for anything. We are his boss. And second thing is, if we want to discuss anything that we want to open up a contract with the administrators, it is like, again, it's up to them. They can say yay or nay. If we decide that we're gonna open it up and they say no, then yes, we are in trouble legally. But since they are for it, okay, then we're gonna move forward. So again, each. and
We know they're
every-
for it?
Wait a minute, I said if they are for it, if they are agreeing to it. So again, each board member has the right to say yay or nay. So just like we put anything else out on the table, we are the board of today, the new board members of tomorrow. So whatever we're going to do today, you guys can challenge it tomorrow when you have your new board members.
Ms. Whitfield, is Ms. Perry. Ms. Perry?
So I was actually curious of your opinion, Madam President, because when I brought up paying an additional coach a cost of $1,920, you were concerned about opening up that contract. Now, that's only $1,900. So I feel like possibly extending 5 or 4 of the highest paid employees in the district, I feel like that would be a much higher cost. So is this something that you're in support of?
I was gonna have a question for the board about reopening contracts, period. I'm gonna take the words from the 2 speakers from last week. When you open up a contract, you're not just opening it up for money. You're opening it up for other things. And that was the discussion from last week. How we're not just opening it up for years, we're opening it up for health benefits and all this other stuff. So when you said open it up just for one person for the SEDA, I was just thinking about what board members said last board meeting, at the board business meeting. So I'm really not sure how we just pick and choose which contracts we want to open and which contracts we don't want to open. So that was going to be my question to the board. Like, at this point, it looks like we're picking and choosing which contracts we want to open and which contracts we don't want to open. So again, my comment will be the same comment you had last week about any contract. If we open SDEA once again, they're not just going to be talking about supplementals. They're going to be talking about money, benefits. So I'm not sure.
But you would agree that this is potentially a much higher cost than a 20-unit supplemental for probably one of our lowest paid, employees. Our coaches don't make a lot of money. And I just have a hard time in a community like ours spending time making a decision on making sure we secure our highest paid staff and honestly, there's not even a real proposal on the table. I was trying to ask Mrs. Woodfolk, what is the actual proposal? Like, the time of the extensions, like, she's not even sharing what she's asking. I was very clear what I asked. I thought it could just be an MOU, and it's $1,920. And does the board agree that the supplemental coach would be a lot cheaper than extending 5 of the highest paid administrators' contracts? And then where does that leave us? Because we're catering to 4 of the highest, but leaving 1 out because we can't extend his contract. Would that be discrimination?
Yeah, but see.
So, excuse me, Ms. Woodford, she's talking to me. She asked me a question.
Oh, I
Excuse
can't
me.
answer, all right.
Excuse me, 1 second. So we keep talking about dollar figures, and it is a lot of money. But when we opened the SEDA contract, it wasn't even budgeted in for the whole year. It wasn't budgeted for the 5 years of their contract. So we added on 1.5 million, excuse me, Mr. Butler, is it 1.5 or 1.3? $1.3 million additional to not even having budgeted in the future, or even knowing if we would have the money to pay it. So when you ask me questions, how do I feel about it? I'm not trying to put the school district in bankruptcy. But also, be careful about the things that you say because, like you just said, last week it was an issue with opening the contracts because of money, healthcare, this, that, and the third. Now you asking to do a MOU that might happen, might not happen, but it's still money. If I was a SEDA member of Southeast Delco, and y'all say to me, oh, we want to open a contract just for supplementals, I will open a contract. I will want to negotiate everything else again.
And I understand that, I do, and we're probably not gonna move forward with that, so I get that. But so to bring up the teacher steps that we paid and the additional $1.3 million, that's for over 200 employees. We're talking about 4 employees.
But now we're
And that
pick-
could
now-
be adding $1 million to the budget. They
It's-
don't make $60,000 a year.
And so that was my whole point. We opened up a contract, and we did not have it budgeted for the 5 years, which was, when the contract was closed, it was already considered for those 5 years. An extra $1.3 million was not considered in the budgets. So I want to be very clear about that. So again, you asked me my opinion, and I gave it to you. So is the board okay with putting this on the agenda for a vote?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yep,
It's a tie, because there's only 6 of us here. 2, 4, 6. There's no majority. Nope.
So we just put it on the agenda for us to vote on.
No, I just asked for us to put it on the agenda. So it's not the majority, so. So I guess the question is this. You don't want it on the agenda. I mean, the whole board's not here tonight.
But that's my thing. I thought that we don't vote on at the committee of the whole.
We're not voting right now. We're voting to add it.
What are we doing? If you counting, let's vote.
I was asking for us to put it on the agenda.
Okay, so.
And it's an even number in the room.
Right, so I'm saying to you, okay, as long as you're asking who wants to, who doesn't want to, that's voting to me. So I'm saying to put it on the agenda and then we could vote from there.
Will any board member have a problem with it just being on the agenda?
I don't want it
Yes.
on the agenda at
Of
all.
course they don't.
I don't feel comfortable being a part of that decision, knowing I'm leaving December 5th.
So what I'm saying is, just because it's on the agenda doesn't mean that you have to vote yes.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I understand, but you asked me a question,
Yeah,
and I
that's what I'm
don't want
saying.
it on the agenda.
Agreed.
But see, that's my thing. Why are we being asked whether we want it on the agenda or not? That is voting. So I'm saying to you, Madam President,
So you just want me to put it on
On the agenda.
arbitrarily?
yes, and everybody will vote next Thursday.
I will consult.
I
the
was
solicitor.
unaware that that's how we were, was unaware we were able to do that.
I will consult the
Of course you would
solicitor.
agree with
Let
that.
the solicitor speak.
I will consult the solicitor.
In order to have it put on the agenda for September, a majority of the board president has to agree to do that tonight.
Tonight?
You have to agree, a majority of the board needs to agree to put it on the agenda for September.
Okay, so if
We
it's
have a
tied.
3-3, so
Can she,
that's not a majority.
I'm sorry?
We don't have a majority if I'm reading
Right, so
the
I'm saying that can
positions
she
correctly here.
survey the board?
Thought you just did.
No, I'm
No,
talking
all
about
the
since
board members.
everybody's not here, can she survey the board through email?
I don't know if you can do that. I mean, I think
We
it
have
should
done
be
that before.
discussed in
We have
in
done that
public here.
before.
We can look into that, but as of the count we have right now, you don't have a majority, so I wouldn't think this is, I can't agree that this should be put on the agenda with a 3-3 split here.
Well, I had talked to Bob, and Bob said that it can
Not,
be.
hold on, this, make sure with Bob, because this is Bob too. Mr. Diorio.
Yeah, and he said it can be, and it can be, if someone requested.
If we can confirm that with him following this meeting, then
Yes.
then you can put it on the agenda if he believes it's okay with getting email
Okay,
responses from the other members that aren't present.
okay, but I'm quite sure we can do it, because I did my homework.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh,
going by
okay.
what we have right now. We have 3 that are in favor, we have 3 that are against, so that's not a majority right now.
Right,
So,
so, I mean, nobody
so
has the
George is,
majority.
so Mr. Diorio and Mr. George will have a conversation tomorrow and get back to the board members.
Okay.
Certainly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. George. Is there any other comments? Okay. Upcoming meetings, school board business meeting will be Thursday, August 28th, 2025 at 7 PM. Committee of the whole will be Thursday, September 18th, 2025 at 6 PM. And the school board business meeting will be Thursday, September 25th, 2025 at 7 PM. This meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, board members, I was just notified that there will be an executive session. So we can leave expeditiously.
If there's documents that are going to be reviewed for the meeting, can someone email them to me quickly?